Welcome back to No Apologies on Beck. I am Lori Hinz, and in our next set of segments, I have a guest from North Dakota, a concerned landowner in North Dakota named Paul Brown. Paul, thank you for being on the program with us tonight. We're going to talk about some eminent domain issues. This might be of interest to people, and they may not know really what's going on with this issue right in their backyard right now. Thanks for being on.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Lori.
So we're going to give first the backstory. I'd like you to give a little bit of the backstory of what happened to make this even a thing where we would have you on TV.
Yeah, so last fall, as a landowner just east of Bismarck, we were approached by this company, Summit Carbon Solutions, wanting an easement on our property to put a CO2 pipeline through. And we hadn't heard anything about it otherwise. And since, I still have not been contacted by anyone from the company, but apparently the line is still proposed to come through our land. So it's really interesting how kind of in the dark, I guess.
Seems a little stealthy.
It is. Yeah, it is very much. And, you know, we've contacted a bunch of neighbors and have been in touch with them. And it's really interesting how they're kind of picking and choosing who they are targeting to try and get these easements signed as soon as they possibly can.
What do you mean by that? What are you talking about?
So specifically on our farm and ranch, we rent from some elderly people that are no longer in farming and ranching, and it seems that Summit's been calling them and bothering them quite often, actually, and they've gotten pretty annoyed with them. Whereas us, we haven't heard a single thing or been even offered an easement at this point. And as far as we know, it's still coming through our land. So just seems that absentee or elderly landowners are being targeted by them. And
interesting.
It sure seems that that's who they're targeting at this point.
Well, that is very interesting. Well, it's a little troubling that you're just learning about things kind of haphazardly and not in a real specific way, too. So what have you all been doing? Have people been mobilizing then and trying to figure out how to deal with this issue? Yeah, we have been. I'm fortunate to have a couple great neighbors that have been working with me. And recently, we went around getting a petition signed by neighbors or people that are concerned about this pipeline going through the area. And we presented this resolution to the Burley County Commission meeting on May 2nd, in which they ended up passing a resolution stating that they are totally against a private company being able to use eminent domain to put this pipeline in. So we were happy to get that passed. Locally, we got over 300 signatures. There's roughly 38 miles of pipeline going through the county. And I think that we've been able to contact or be in touch with at least 90% of the landowners. And I think that 95 or 96% are very much against this. Oh my. So this, what we have on screen here looks like the resolution here from, I will read it along if that's okay, May 2nd, Monday, May 2nd. Whereas Summit Carbon Solutions pipeline poses health and safety risks to both citizens and the environment, and we'll get to that in a moment also. Whereas many landowners are concerned about the prospect of Summit Carbon Solutions seeking eminent domain for a carbon sequestration pipeline, be it resolved, the Burley County Commission is opposed to eminent domain for the Summit Carbon Solutions pipeline project. And then on the bottom, this is the most important part. It says, please understand we are not against pipelines, but we are against the use of eminent domain. Now that speaks volumes to me because you're right. Nobody likes to have land grabs where they don't have any say in it. But generally speaking in North Dakota, we're not usually too much against pipelines. Now, there was some in there that talked about safety risks to citizens and the environment. Can you speak to that a little bit, Paul? Yeah, so CO2 pipelines are a fairly new thing. And to my understanding, there's only roughly 5,000 miles currently in the United States. This line is supposed to be around 2,000 miles total. And there's not much known about them. And when I attended a meeting couple of weeks ago that Summit put on in Mandan, I asked the question, or someone from the crowd did, you know, what are the specific health concerns that people should have? Because this is a highly pressurized CO2 line, and specifically a 2-foot line proposed to go through our place that's going to be running around 2,000 PSI. what are the risks involved and how big of an area would be affected if there would happen to be a rupture. And they honestly couldn't answer it. And so that was very concerning to us that heard that in the room.
Well, I think it's really a good idea that at least you're gathering the information too, and that you're getting it and you're talking to people. I think that's really, really important. Now, you're talking about this collection of petitions. Was that to the resolution for the Burleigh County folks, or?
Yes,
Okay.
and a similar resolution was also passed in Sargent, Dickey, and Richland counties.
Oh.
The route of the pipeline coming up from the southeast, and we hope that other counties will join in and do that as well.
Well, that's after they hear about it watching this show, they may just do that. That's a good idea. Now, this pipeline that they're proposing is probably already okayed, I'm assuming, by the PSC. It's probably been through all of that. Is there something that you are hoping to be able to reroute, or are you thinking, okay, wait a minute, you want to stop it? Do you have an end game, or do you not even know?
Well, those of us that are this close to Bismarck, we're only 7 miles east of town. Our ranch is right north of McDowell Dam. So that's pretty close. And if you know Bismarck, it's developing east and north. So we're very concerned as to why it would be coming this close to town. And, you know, again, those health risks that might be there, we'd just like to know about them. So, yeah, there's a map there you can see. For those familiar with the area, you can see it crosses underneath 94, just east of our property. And then it goes north along 106th Street, which is a lot of it through our ranch, and then crosses First, and then continues northwest and crosses Highway 83 roughly by 110th Avenue, and then goes under the Missouri and continues on to Beulah, where it's supposed to be injected about 5,000 feet below the ground. So we're just wondering why it's coming this close to Bismarck.
I did not honestly realize that this was proposed to be this close to the city, and it just goes right over. It also goes over 2 separate railroad tracks, it looks like, at the same time too, or under, I guess. It looks like it goes under by the map here. But then you've got, it's going over thoroughfares, it goes over 83, it also goes over or under I-94, and it sneaks between Lincoln and Minokan there. If you look on the map there, on the left lower corner is Bismarck, and it goes over the top of Bismarck and then down south.
Yeah, and to my knowledge, they have not even filed a permit with the Public Service Commission yet. So at the meeting, us landowners hope to be there and be represented, just opposing that it's coming this close to town for sure. And definitely the eminent domain.
Well, the eminent domain thing is the big thing, because we've been hearing about 30 by 30. We've been hearing about land grabs, and it's a pervasive problem now. And I'm sorry, but the poor farmers are getting hit with all sorts of different groups who are trying to take their land. Yeah, absolutely. One interesting thing that I found is that there's groups like the Sierra Club or Dakota Resource Council that are opposing this. And according to some summit people, those groups are making us landowners activists, I guess we've been called. And I just find it interesting that if those groups are against it, it's kind of awkward, because they should be for it if they're green and for capturing carbon and carbon sequestration. So